Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. We're going to go in the news. All right, as you can see the title of this video, FBI director warns about threats to Americans from those inspired by Hamas attack on Israel. All right. So again, as we've been saying, now is the time to use wisdom more than ever. And why do we say that? Okay. FBI director Christopher Wray warned on Tuesday that Hamas rampage inside Israel could inspire violence in the U.S., telling lawmakers that multiple foreign extremist groups have called for attacks against Americans and in the West in recent weeks. Okay, so it makes sense, all right, now that we see, things getting, fired up, which everything that's happening is happening, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. It's all prophecy. Okay, all of these things have to play out in this world and in Israel. Okay, all of these things have to play out. All right, but it is our job, all right, as ultimately those who have been, given, the authority to have this word through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai and teach it, all right, to push the usage of wisdom, all right, because there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, all right, but ultimately, that very way you can be deceived, all right, and be destroyed. So there's a way that seemeth right unto a man, all right, but the end result can be your destruction, all right? And we'll tie this situation to exactly what we're talking about, because ultimately you all have been warned, all right? There's enough videos that have gone out, on recent things that are happening, all right? And I'm doing this video here, but at the end of the day, all right, we've done our job. Our hands are washed of the blood. The warning went out. All right. And there's always been instances in Israel where, men have, had it in their mind to, do particular things. And the prophets were sent to tell them no. All right. And they would, Jake would call the prophets sellouts, weak, come up against them. All right. And then eventually the thing that the prophet warned about came to pass. But it was too late. Okay? And right now our enemy is operating, all right, to have this ministry blamed. Okay? And he's going to come after us. Okay? And this border crisis and, this Biden administration has allowed many people over here, and they haven't vetted them. They don't know what they own. It's just, they just over here. Now they're telling you, all right, that people who are crossing these southern borders, as we'll show you the video, all right, have interest, okay, that can be tied to what's going on, all right, as we're reading here, inspired, okay, by what's happening, all right, with Israel and Hamas. See? And we know, pursuant to the Holy Scriptures, let's get it real quick, because the remnant, ultimately, as I had that pulled up, Isaiah 10 and 20, all right, and it shall come to pass that in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay up on him that smote them. Who smote us? The Edomites, the heathen. And we're no longer leaning on Esau for our identity, what to be mad about, what to be happy about. We no longer trust him. He's being called out. Okay, we're telling them we're the Israelites. Okay, but they shall stay, all right, or lean on for support. That's what that Hebrew word means, upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. And they take that as an offense. To them, that is an act of terror. Okay, to them, you're extreme. And for years, they have tried to tie, all right, as we've been warning you, this ministry to Islamic extremism, terrorism, and everything else. That's what Vocab Malone was set up for. All right. And we're living in the times where their plans, because they don't have too much longer, their plans and their plan to have this ministry blamed and to ultimately paint us as domestic terrorists is getting ready to be implemented. All right. And you best believe that there are agents, spies, provocateurs, all right, in Israel. The scripture warned us about this. Yet when the men of the Lord warn about it and point out particular behavior patterns that are fishy, okay, the prophets get called, all right, cowards and weak and this and this and that. But when it's all said and done, you will wish you listened to the men of the Lord, man, who the Lord set up to warn. See? It's a big duty of the prophets is to warn, to speak against things that are going on in Israel. Not to just sit back. Okay? Revelation 12 and 17. And the dragon, the revival of Rome, the biblical Edomite, the red dragon, as it calls him earlier in this chapter, okay, the Roman Empire, then you have the revival of Rome, was wroth with the woman, meaning angry. Okay? Who's the woman? The nation of Israel, the church. All right? How? Because we made a covenant with him. He looks at us as his wife. But we committed adultery, which is why we're under these curses. But now a remnant was promised to return. So the dragon, all right, the revival of Rome, was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Why? Because she keeps the commandments of the Most High, all right, and has the testimony, all right, of Yahawashi HaMashiach. So keeping the commandments means you're going to be against the things that are happening in this world that are being, you know, boasted in, the alphabet, all right, and everything else that's wrong in this world that the image of the beast, the NWO, stands for. We're speaking against it pursuant to Revelation, the 14th chapter. We're contrary to what's going on in Revelation, the 13th chapter. Revelation in 13 and Revelation in 14 should be read synonymously, because as he's coming with his plan, all right, the Lord would the remnant, start with the men of the Lord, okay, will be against all of those things. And we have the testimony of Yahawashi, all right, which is the spirit of prophecy. So we're prophesying that this place is going to be destroyed. Okay, we're prophesying that the Edomites and all of the rest of the heathen are going to go into captivity. So they look at that as what? Extreme. They looked at that as an act of terror, yet we're just reading. So what they're going to do, all right, is to tie us to these groups that are going out actually doing things. Okay, and this is where ultimately we have to go through the straight gate using wisdom. We're going to be numbered amongst the transgressors. All right, but it is our job, okay, to remain faithful to the task, all right, and ultimately, all right, follow Yahawashi's example, okay? Now, going back to this article, it says, we assess the actions of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration, all right, the likes which we haven't seen since ISIS, all right, which I have this video breaking down who ISIS really is, because we know ISIS is this, you know, fringe group, you know, that persecutes, you know, particular people, Christians, you know, certain kind of Muslims. You know, they were tied, you know, I believe to, you know, maybe 9/11, you know, Al-Qaeda and all of that, which it came to, you know, it came out that your beloved Barack Obama was funding them, the U.S. government. The same with all of these other groups that are being used and pushed out in the forefront, all right, as a threat, okay, to the Edomite power structure at the end of the day, okay?
Hamas is ISIS. Hamas is ISIS. The entire world has been shocked by the atrocities of ISIS.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, you know, CIA, or in our case the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad's Institute. But when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. And if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. And if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. Israeli Secret Intelligence Service.
Okay. So let's read it again. FBI Director Christopher Wray warned on Tuesday that Hamas rampage inside Israel could inspire or entice violence in the U.S., telling lawmakers that multiple foreign extremist groups have called for attacks against Americans and against the West in recent weeks. Now, what did, what's this, Nero do, in Rome? Basically, they took particular aspects of the doctrine, of the Israelites who are out preaching. You got various Israelites back then, particular camps and sects. One of them was the followers of Yahawashi. Which that church has been continued in this modern day Rome and raised up in these latter times. See, you got the Zealots, you got, the Sadducees, you got those who only believe in the Torah, but you also have the followers of Yahawashi, who were here preaching in this modern day Roman Empire. So what Nero did was he took particular aspects of the prophecies, and he burnt down a temple that was, a Colosseum that pretty much had its roots in the god or goddess of Jupiter. And he said, well, here it is, these Jews, these Israelites, the followers of Yahawashi, who become a problem in ancient Rome, they're preaching that, Babylon's going to burn. They're preaching that against our idols. So he burnt down that particular region in Rome, where Colosseum was, and he blamed it on the Jews. We're walking into these kind of situations. It won't be that exactly. They can say we burned something down, but ultimately they're going to take particular aspects of our doctrine and tie it to what these particular groups that they funded and set up for these purposes do. It says, we assess that the actions of Hamas, which is a Hebrew word, ironically going into violence, it says, and its allies will serve as an inspiration, the likes of which we haven't seen since ISIS launched its caliphate years ago. So let's pull up this video real quick. See if I can pull it up. This is off of News Nation. Hezbollah may be making its way into our southern border. Southern border, former CIA officer.
Digging deeper with News Nation national security contributor Tracy Walder, who is also a CIA officer and FBI special agent. Tracy, always good to see you. I wanted to start off with some polling, new polling that we got. The latest News Nation Decision Desk HQ poll found that 77% of Americans are either very or somewhat concerned that Israel's war on Hamas will lead to a terrorist attack here.
There you go. Now, this is the new boogeyman. The new boogeyman is going to be what? Particular groups, who have an evil eye towards, the state of Israel and the West, which ultimately trickles down to Edomites, which pretty much the American Christian, and the small hats over there, one of the biggest, enemies of them is what you call white supremacist groups, Now, if you've been looking closely, and we've been showing you this over the past, 7 years, 10 years maybe, you've noticed that the American media, some of these American presidents have made a big step to bring up white supremacy. White supremacy is one of the biggest threats, but synonymously, they came up with this thing called black identity extremist to tie so-called blacks, all right, who ultimately, of course, we know this is not a black thing, but they're going to always label it black because that's a buzz term within the system of Edomite supremacy, all right, that they've politicized for these particular moments like this. Black, when you tie black to anything that puts a stigma on it, that's tied to the image and the accusation they have against you. Anyway, you've noticed that, all of a sudden Esau, the U.S. government, started to speak against, white supremacist groups because that's the number one terrorist, all right, domestically here in Babylon. All right, the statistics prove it. Okay, the number one domestic terrorist in the United States has been Edomites. All right. And they hate the small hats. Okay. And they use the Bible. Okay. They come against the Christian church to some degree. They've been known to bomb churches, burn stuff down. So what they've done is, systematically just, tied, all right, so-called black groups who just go out and preach, complain, prophesy, to these particular, white supremacist groups. So all supremacist groups, black supremacy, white supremacy, all of these particular groups are now one. Okay? So that's a boogeyman within itself. You got many boogeymen. But now right here we're seeing what? 77% of Americans are somewhat concerned or very concerned, all right, about domestic, all right, extremists, which are tied to this Israel, all right, and Palestinian back and forth. Let's run it back a little bit.
HQ poll found that 77% of Americans are either very or somewhat concerned that Israel's war on Hamas will lead to a terrorist attack here in the United States. And just to remind our viewers at home, you were very involved with tracking down the perpetrators of the 9/11 attacks, including Osama bin Laden. How do the anxieties we're experiencing now with
9/11, Osama? Come on, man. Here we go again. All right, and was not that situation used to wage war?
the war in Israel compare to what we felt and saw after September 11th?
Well, thank you for having me, Margie. That's really a great question. I think what's even more concerning is sort of that second number, a 400% increase in anti-Semitic attacks, and then basically a 700% increase in anti-Muslim fear against attacks as well. And I think that is a little bit different than what we are seeing in regards to September 11th.
You see what they just did? All right. An increase in anti-Sim attacks, but then with the so-called Muslims, all right, it's the fear of attacks as if they haven't been attacked. You know, and this is Western media. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. This is why nobody listens to Western media. All right. But the bottom line is that what they're saying is that, all right, these particular extremists with these ideologies that are against, all right, the small hats that are against the West are entering into the southern border. And how would they get here unless they were led over here? Your President Joe Biden and his administration, as tacky and nasty as they are, they're letting all of these people over into the United States with all of the issues we have. All right, now they're just letting all of these people, you don't know what they got, you don't know what they own, you don't know what their intent is, blending themselves in with the Northern Kingdom, okay, coming over here into the United States. So now, all right, which that was the perfect, all right, just like a brother talked about how in the movie called Sicario, okay, it was a border crisis that led to a domestic attack, an attack. And here we go again. Okay? So now is the time to use wisdom. Okay?
I think we're a bit more unified in our response. Also, Al-Qaeda works a bit differently than what we see with Hamas, ISIS, those kinds of things now. And Director Wray talked about the increase in what he called lone wolf attacks, what we call lone ranger attacks. Those are a lot more difficult to track. With Al-Qaeda, I don't want to say it was easier. Nothing's easy when it comes to terrorists. But the reality is these groups of individuals needed to talk. They needed to talk about logistics. They needed to talk about upcoming events that they were planning. And a lot of times, that's how we would catch them. With lone rangers, they're not talking to anyone. They are inspired by these actions overseas, and they're taking it upon themselves to wreak havoc, and that is very difficult to track.
Yeah, and we know that Al-Qaeda has issued the most specific calls for violence against.
You remember the dude who we just called out for being an agent, who popped up with a, taking a, Islamic flag and, turning it around and putting Hebrew on it. What was that all about? All of these coincidences are just happening around the time that all of these things are happening, which we know the devil has but a short time. So he's getting ready to go all out. We prophesied it all of these years. Now it's here. And as the beloved brother, the elder Micah Allah said out of the Los Angeles camp, now is not the time to be acting weird. And there's particular people doing weird things that have to be called out. Okay? Let's go back a bit.
They're taking it upon themselves to wreak havoc, and that is very difficult to track.
Yeah, and we know that Al-Qaeda has issued the most specific calls for violence against the U.S. that we've seen in years, quite some time. Tracy, as you know, there's also a lot of anxiety that Hamas or Hezbollah fighters could be entering the country illegally via the U.S.-Mexico border, because, let's be real, it's still very open. Is that a concern that you also share?
It's absolutely a concern that I share. Even when I was at CIA, we were concerned about some of the routes that Hezbollah was making into our southern border. Folks may or may not know, but in an area called the Tri-Border region in South America, there is a larger presence of Hezbollah, particularly even now in Venezuela, with influence from Iran and Iranian money into that country. And I am concerned that Hezbollah in particular may be making its way up into our southern border. And then that becomes really, really difficult because the reality...
And you just had the situation over in Syria where, the U.S. struck some Iranian bases. Okay. So all of these things, they're saying, well, people over here, now there's groups over in the West, all right, that are going to be a threat to the West because of these happenings, like what's happening over in Israel. All right. You got these, Palestinians, marching, arguing because their families getting blown to smithereens, which ultimately, at the end of the day, has nothing to do with us. When you get the scriptures, there's a recompense coming to them. That's why this is happening. Let's get the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, real quick. Joel 3:1. For behold, the days, all right, in those days, and at that time, I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, the Israelites. That's what's getting ready to happen. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. For I will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. These nations all had a part in our taking us down, slave trade, trading us. All right. You had the sub-Saharan slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. All right. Which all of these nations had part in. Okay. In some shape, form, or fashion. Even our own people, sellouts. All right. Help these heathen. Okay, so that's why these nations are being gathered, because he's getting ready to plead with them for what happened to his people. All right, it talks about how they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a boy that they might drink. The sub-Saharan slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, they were trading us off, using particular of our men who may, be of a particular stature. All right, to have sex with. And so they can bring forth other bucks and children. It's the same thing they do to the animals. Okay? These particular animals that make it to their circus or their marine world. All right, there's a particular special quality about these particular, whales and things. So they'll take that whale, all right, get the sperm out of it and create other, in their incubators, grow other whales. These devils are crazy. But they given a boy for an harlot, meaning they would take Israelite men, all right, young boys who they saw were of a particular stature and pimp them out, all right, have them just using them to have a whole bunch of sex all day, all right, to get the women pregnant so that they can bring forth other slaves, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. They traded us for musket guns, okay, wine, tobacco, all of this, all documented. But here's the point. Yea, what do you have with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine, which Palestine is ultimately another way of saying Philistine, who at one point had control of that land. Okay? But the coast of Palestine is speaking to you Ishmaelites. Okay? Will you render me, all right, a recompense? All right, the promise ain't coming to you all. All right, Tyre and Zidon is those Hamites. And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense on your own head. Okay, so what's happening is you're being paid back. So that's all judgment from the Lord. This is all happening via prophecy. Okay, so again, going back to this video, just bringing that out again. It's about to turn up.
Is they may not, the person coming in may not be tied directly to some kind of a Hamas leader or a Hezbollah leader that we know, but we can't screen for the ideas that they have. And that makes it incredibly difficult. If we don't have proper screening procedures in place and our border is too porous, that's going to be problematic and people will enter through the south.
Yeah, and we've seen the number of gotaways. I mean, it's like, forget about the people who are stopped and screened. Think about all the people who, we don't even know are entering the country. I also thought, it was interesting yesterday, FBI Director Christopher Wray pointing out that he hasn't seen this kind of radicalization since the dawn of ISIS. How does Hamas appeal to potential terrorists, and why is this war such a lightning rod for extremists?
So the one key word there is actually social media. They are excellent at utilizing social media.
Social media, which is where the truth is being spread throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, you got brothers on YouTube, all right, and all of these various different platforms. Israelite videos are there. And they're saying people are being radicalized by what they're seeing online. So ultimately, they're going to tie us to all of this. And we've told you this for years. It ain't going to be so popular to be an Israelite very soon. Okay? So we're bold in the sense of we're emboldened to go out and preach this word in the face of those that have afflicted us. But we use wisdom. Okay? Showing up to these particular rallies where it's already heightened, where you may have agent provocateurs, okay, to make a statement and say we're going to cut no, stay away from that. That's using wisdom. See, let's get Proverbs, the 22nd chapter. Okay, because now we're cowards and this and this and that, which everything that's being said is being recorded, okay, and you will all be held accountable. We will be held accountable. Okay, so you better watch what you're saying. You don't know who the hell you're talking to. You got a lot of you young cats who just start teaching you. You see these videos where you see brothers going in and you quick to say this and this and that, but you don't realize what's going on, nor do you really understand the magnitude of what you're a part of. See, the men that came in before us, who we entered into their labors, all right, they went through all of these kinds of situations, so that they using could impart wisdom on us on what and what not to do, how to move in these times. But a lot of you young men don't want to take heed to what the elders say because you got followers, you got likes, okay, and you have this perception of what being bold and this and this and that, and you're getting ready to be led to the slaughter by grievous wolves that have entered in, and the grievous wolves are somewhere. Okay, not everybody who says shalom and who pops up is right. Okay, point blank period. So a lot of people who don't have the interest of the flock in mind, a lot of people who are agents, okay, in all camps. Okay, all camps have been infiltrated on some level. All right, Proverbs 22 and 3, a prudent man foreseeth evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. A prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions, not walk into it talking about we're gonna go, all right, which there's enough videos that have been done on this situation, so at some point it's beating a dead horse. But I wanted to do this video real quick, because at the end of the day, all right, what happened over there with those men from Wi-Fi in Chicago, the Lord it happened. I don't know, y'all set up there every week. Ultimately there was a protest there. Things got rowdy. I'm pretty sure y'all were telling those Palestinians, the Quran ain't this, that. It got rowdy. a fight broke out. You know, the Lord had it to where nobody went to jail. I seen somebody was bleeding, but ultimately you live to see the next day. All right, but now you have a particular individual, okay, by the name of Chief Ephraim, all right, which, you know, he's angry and he's doing these videos, you know, the whole red screen thing, you know, it makes sense. I don't know the validity of, we don't know 100% if you're an agent, but again, all right, as overseers of the church, we have to weigh things in a balance. All right, first of all right, Chief Ephraim popped up, okay, a few years back, saying that ultimately he left the truth for a while and that he's back, okay, and he immediately, okay, you know, got involved. Now, I'll ask this, well, where does this dude put up videos at? Because I looked up HOI Atlanta, I looked up, you know, I checked him out online. Now, if there's somewhere where he frequently, you know, does videos and loads videos, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see him really breaking the scriptures down and going, because the job is to feed the sheep. You know, now we always see, you know, Zabak out there. All right, you know, they have a page. They hadn't done a video in 10 days. You know, I don't know what's going on, but, you know, I know Zabak has always been, you know, one to be fervent and to go out, you know, and so forth. All right, but this guy pops up, you know, out of nowhere, saying that ultimately he used to be in the old, you know, in the truth. He fell out, you know, went back into the world, but now he's back. And when you look at his social media page, it's just full of him saying, I was, you know, this is what I did in the world. Now I'm in the truth. You know, he posts some very questionable, weird things. At the end of the day, you know, silly dove, you know how Jake is an Ephraimite, but, you know, it would make sense that we investigate you because you popped up, okay, and you were involved in that Covington situation. You immediately start getting interviews. You ended up, I believe, in the New York Times or the New York Post in 2019 behind that Covington, you know, situation. Okay, this black Israelite from Brooklyn sparked the Covington controversy. So it's like, okay, you know, where does guy come from? You know, and then he was involved in another controversy. You know, then on the whole January 6th thing, they went out there speaking, you know, and there was a few other situations, you know, that he was a part of. I remember they went out speaking in front of a news station, you know, with the microphone and all of that, which, you know, okay, powerful speaker. But we have to ask ourselves, what's up with this cat? You know, like, he pops up asking for $500,000, you know, to build a you know, some, you know, like, what's up with this guy? Who is this guy? You know, it's about teaching the word. You hardly ever really see these guys doing videos, but when it's some type of controversy or some type of summit or something, they pop up, you know. So, you know, we have to question, you know, who is this guy? What's up with you? You know, and then this situation happens in Chicago and you just pop up, all right, talking about let's go back for round 2. That's not wise, okay? New York provocateur. Now let's look up the word provocateur. You see this article, okay? Hey, provocateur. What does that word mean? Let's look it up. Undercover agent who commits damning or illegal acts in the name of a group, who encourages group members to commit them so as to damage its reputation, or drawn down punishment from authorities. Provocateur. Okay? So we have a right to say what's up with you because we know, what does the scripture say? Let's get it real quick. Let's get the book of Acts, the 20th chapter. Boy, I hate niggas, man. Acts 20. You come to a park to see, you know, some water, some trees, you know, get outside. And it's just niggas just standing out here with all their kids smoking weed. Look like an 8-year-old smoking. Nigga got a tall can. Now they turn on the trap music. Niggas dancing. Like, what are you doing? Why do you come to the park to act like a complete monkey? Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, Acts 20 and 29. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. And they're here. Okay, also of your own selves, even from your own group, shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them. Therefore, watch and remember, all right, that by the space of 3 years, I cease not to warn everyone night and day. So at the church of Ephesus, 3 years straight, Paul was warning about these individuals, man. And here it is, that which is then is now. And we have reason to warn. You pop up out of nowhere. You're not, all right, fervent like that, going out, you may go out weekly. I don't know. I'm sure he goes out weekly. Zabak is always out there, but you're not going into scriptures. You're not really prophesying. You're not really breaking down. You're not really feeding the sheep like that. But then when it comes for some controversy, you just pop up. So we have the right, all right, to investigate you, because check this out as well, and then I'm done with it. Okay, this was sent, all right, by a brother, on that comment board, because he's a social media guy. He posts a lot of stuff on social media, silly stuff, whatever, family, I was in the world, I used to do this, I turned my life around. He's big on that, and when men, focus a lot on their past life, all right, it means that, really a lot of them, all right, try to tell you, I used to do this and that, all right, so that you can, because they feel like it really makes them somebody. Okay, well, I used to do this, I got shot, I used to do that, I used to, they constantly bringing it up. We had a guy that came around that used to always do that. All right, okay, yeah, you was a bad guy, you used to do bad, okay, It says, somebody needs to pick me up. This is one of the comments from the post of that Red Room post, where he was in that red, which either is tied to, we know there's a color psychology. We know, all right, how the left hand gets down, but whether you're a part of that or not, okay, to tell Israel to let's go down there for round 2 to show them we large in numbers. Man, we large in numbers even when it's a small amount of us. The Lord don't need big numbers. Okay, the angels are surrounding us. If we doing what's right, all right, if we have a protection on high, that's our defense mechanism, man. It's on high. Okay, it says, but this is one of the posts. Now, you calling all of these individuals to go to Chicago, okay, all of these camps, and this what this one individual put, Pops Crafts 88, could be an agent, but look what he puts. Somebody needs to pick me up. I'm in Macon. All right, I guess that's near somewhere, I don't know. I'll bring the IWI TS-12 and we'll get some straightening. So somebody, left a comment, message Wi-Fi ATL, they got people near Macon, okay? And Chief Ephraim responds to the dude, can you get to Sparta? Meaning if you can get there, we can pick you up from there or what? But the dude is talking about bringing, all right, this is the IWI TS-12. All right, a gun. So instead of you being a leader and overseer of the flock saying, nah, we ain't about that, don't put that out there. If you're going to, do what you do, bring what you bring, but we ain't got to put, this is on social media. This is recorded. You idiot. This is very irresponsible. You see this comment, this whole time you're out here saying you're doing it for the higher power and y'all are just starting extra shit y'all have no involvement in. Why do y'all want to be a part? So yeah, I mean, it cut off, but apparently this is, a brother took a screenshot of this, but this dude is talking about, so anybody can show up to that, protest. I'm here to, to bang with the bruise. It could be a complete agent. And he could just, shoot up the crowd, start shooting at some of these, Palestinians. Your plant can just show up there because you're not being responsible. You see? And then you're going to have, people who are sincere and really think that, they're following your leadership. What if they go out there and get themselves harmed? The blood is going to be on your hands. So we have reason through the Holy Spirit, all right, to say something's fishy about you, because we're living in fishy times. And you niggas who are, coming against us saying we cowards and crazy, first of all, let's get the scripture real quick. What was Yahweh Shai's? We're going to leave it alone. I'm not going to keep doing videos on that guy. We went out yesterday, and we know a lot of you were looking, trying to see what GMS going to say. Wait, I made it a point to keep it strictly about the prophecy, man. I'm not going to sit there and waste no whole camp arguing back with y'all guys. Let's just type in flee. What did Yahweh Shai tell his disciples to do? All right, the scriptures say, travel not with a bold fella. Okay? Matthew 10. Now, let's say, ultimately those brothers were out there teaching, and then the protest started, which I know them. They knew it was going to be a protest, and they went out there. That's just, they young, young, fiery, but older, after a while, our apostles and elders been through brawls, and we went through our little brawls, so we, seasoned enough to know, like, if there's going to be a protest and they shutting out, barricading, let's just let them have the spot. This world belongs to Esau anyway. That's these spots we have, ultimately, they're not ours. The scriptures told us to be as pilgrims. Okay? In these great evils, be ye as pilgrims, meaning you're moving through. You ain't tied to no particular spot or place. You see? So you're using wisdom. If you know it's going to be some rowdy, crazy, or the times we in, you know what? We're not going over there. Let them have it. A lot of you are saying that that's a coward move. Now a lot of you all set up where there's nobody at. Well, what is a byway and a hedge? Yeah, you got the highways, you got the chief places of concourse, but you also have the byways or a hedge, which is a more secluded place. The bottom line is the word is going out. All right? The word is going out, man. Now that's a nitpicking argument. Y'all go out, y'all in a park where ain't nobody at. Look, the word is going out, man. Highways, byways. What is a byway? Let's look up the word byway. Okay, a road or track not following a main route, a minor road or path, little known area or detail. Highways, byways, highways, hedges. A hedge is basically a more fenced in, closed in area. So the highways and the hedges is where the men of the Lord will be. All right, places that are heavily populated where there's a lot of people. All right, and places where ultimately there's not a lot of people. Didn't he say go to the highways and the byways, the highways and the hedges? So you dudes are weird, just trying to figure out a way to argue and be mad. The bottom line is that the word is going out, and the internet is the highway. Ain't the internet likened it to a highway? Anyway, what did Yahweh Shai tell us, man? Matthew 10 and 23. But when they persecute you in this city, this is what he told his disciples, which aren't you a disciple of Yahweh Shai in these latter days? This applies to you. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another, for verily I say unto you, you should not have gone over the cities of Israel until the Son of Man come. Read it in the NLT. When you are persecuted in one town, flee to the next. Okay? I tell you the truth. The Son of Man will return before you have reached all the towns of Israel. Israel's everywhere. Okay, so if you had this spot was the best spot, go somewhere. Israel's in another spot. If that's your, there's this cowardly the advice. Okay, you're gonna, y'all had to fight. Y'all were blessed enough to live the next day. No brother went to jail. Nobody got put to death. Okay, you praise the Lord and you use wisdom and say, you know what? They protesting at that. Which how do y'all know it's going to be a protest? Well, how does the chief know? But or basically they're saying let's go back for round 2 and show them we ain't no punks. Well, the fact that y'all out on the highways and the byways proves you ain't no punk. Okay? Any man who's sincerely going out on the highways and the byways, man, that takes, a particular mindset. Vengeance is of the Lord. Okay? We can't create our own vengeance. Go out there and intimidate them, show them we got more numbers. Look, man, they already losing, and they're going to lose. Okay? But then now y'all got people talking about they bringing guns. And then you individuals who cursing us out saying we hating and we jealous and this and this and that. Okay, if somebody happens to get hurt, you supported that shit. But anyway, what does the Lord say? But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over all of the cities, all right, before the Son of Man come. So, hey, let them have it, man. But, all right, but when you're led by the flesh, okay, you do the things of the flesh, man. We're not here to walk after the flesh. We're not here for a corruptible crown. Okay, now if somebody runs up on you, you out there, of course you defend yourself. Chief Ephraim posted a video of, it was an affiliate camp, which I don't think they teach no more, or a few of them stopped teaching in San Diego. Well, we even had to get on the brothers. Like, man, don't let nobody run up on the camp. You don't let nobody just run up on you. Okay, yeah. So if you got to defend yourself, you defend yourself. All right, but if you can get the situation quarreled, you know what I'm saying? Let it go. Certain things go happen to you where ultimately retaliation, let them have it. But don't let nobody run up on the camp and endanger the nah. We even had to get on them dudes about that. But Chief Ephraim posted it on the internet talking about these cowards. All right, then you got women in the comment board talking about they scared to fight on the highways. All right, but they go home and beat their wives. Then you had another one. Yeah, they say it's okay to beat your wife because she's just a possession. Then you had another one. They talk about in the kingdom, they're going to be raping minors. This is the type of shit that's going on. And all of you are saying this, man. Hey, okay. Hey, being defamed, we entreated, we take it. But you best believe there's going to be another aspect to that, man. Okay, Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. And as the scriptures say, travel not with a bold fellow. Let me pull that up. Okay, so y'all been warned. Y'all have been warned. Let's see here. Let me pull it up. Okay, this is Sirach 8:15. Travel not with by the way, with a bold fellow. Okay, lest he become grievous unto thee, for he will do according to his own will, and thou shalt perish with him through his folly. So there you go. The warning has been going out. At the end of the day, I just wanted to do this video to show y'all that ultimately they're letting you know that now, all right, these terrorists are over here, okay, and they're gonna use the what happened over in Israel as a means to take vengeance and do, all right, terroristic acts over here, man. So we got to use wisdom in this time more than ever, and we have to keep the flock, all right, in mind more than our own personal opinions and trying to be tough guys and this and this and that. Look, we've already proven, all right, and we still got more to go because our faith is going to be tested. Going out on the highways and the byways, we've already proved our point. Okay, you can't be scary and go out there on the highways and the byways week in and week out for years. We've already proved our point. The Lord is working for us. Okay? So look for it very, very soon, all right? We're going to be tied to all of this. All right? And there's no way around it. However, we still have to walk in wisdom. Okay? And as overseers of the church, our apostles and elders are warning us not to get involved in these types of things and how to react when you get involved. So, but instead of taking the advice, all right, men get, emotional. They get, they respond in their feelings. Now we wicked niggas. Now, we cowards. But yeah, at the end of the day, hey, these are the things that come with the territory. So we ain't even tripping. We cowards, okay. You got brothers who train, we do all kind of stuff, man. But at the end of the day, the point of us being raised up in these latter days is to preach this word, man. To seal the elect through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and get the hell up out of here, man. Not to get to prove a point in the flesh.
Really galvanizing the 18 to 25-year-old crowd. ISIS was excellent at that as well. Al-Qaeda is kind of viewed as the older folks who are not utilizing social media. And really utilizing social media, these ideas spread like wildfire. And people are seeing this. They're seeing that they're successful and they're inspired and they want to be just like them.
Yeah, we've seen it, spread extremely fast, the misinformation, the vitriol. This last one is just more of a personal question for you and how other families move forward. As someone who is a former CIA and FBI officer, but is also an American Jew, what is your safety and security advice right now for Jewish families? I mean, families who are frightened to send their kids to school, to go out in public with anti-Israel protests in the streets, some families don't even want to publicize that they're Jewish right now, but they also don't want to give into fear and they don't want evil to win. What do you tell other Jewish families to best navigate this time?
It's funny, Marky, the vast majority of any threats or pushback that I get, being somewhat public, actually is anti-Semitic in nature. That's what I get the most out of anything.
Yeah, so this is a JOO, yeah. I mean, we know the narrative. They're going to be the biggest victims, the whole world. But, we're living at a time where, Esau's been made bare. It's not going to work, all right? But, they're going to use fear tactics. They're going to use these threats, and eventually they're going to tie to ministry. Which, hey, we knew it was coming, all right? And, their only hope is that, the truth is a lie. All right. And that's a big task. The scriptures say there's no lie of the truth, but our hope is that, all right, the truth is the truth. All right. So, they're going to come with all of these, the counter, these situations and these skirmishes and these this and that, and yes. All right, brothers and sisters, there are agents. There are going to be provocateurs used, all right, in camps, in Israelite camps. It's not far-fetched. I know a lot of y'all think that this is far-fetched. You are dealing with Esau Edom. He knows who you are. He sees you've been raised up. He is going to go to all extremes. He's going to have people who you thought were diligent and men of the Lord, okay, who were sincere about, teaching his word. A lot of them there's going to be a lot of surprises. So be mindful, brothers, of you out there, what you do, what you say. We have nothing else to prove. Okay? The prophecies are what prove everything that we need proven. All right? The prophecies prove everything we need. All right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
And it's funny because really being Jewish is the thing I talk about the least, quite frankly. I think for Jewish folks, I do agree with Director Ray. We can't stop our daily lives because then terrorists win. But I think we have to be careful. If I am hearing that there are potential attacks coming up, or if I am hearing that activity is increasing in Israel and in Gaza, one of the things I'm going to do is probably keep my daughter home from Hebrew school. And
So there you go. I mean, they're going to, and be prepared to be put on the news. Okay, it ain't going to be fair. All right, they already got clips of us, saying stuff that can be used, all right, to make it seem like this and that. They're the masters of evil and disaster. They don't play fair, all right, and they have the media on their side. They have, they're a bunch of witches. So it makes sense to crack down. It makes sense to use wisdom. It makes sense to not put yourself in a stupid position to do something stupid that can get others harmed. All right. However, you've been warned. Did I read this scripture? Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the spirit and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Let the spirit guide your lives, man. And sometimes being spiritual means taking the low, taking the loss. When you have that idea that you have to win and you have to put off this bravado and they ain't go punk me and this and this and that. Hey, man, it's more situations coming down the pipe where you're going to be tested. Okay? Yeah, you defend yourself, but there's sometimes, all right, where you can, just die down a situation. Just let it go. Leave it alone. Okay? And, bro, if y'all don't think that there's anything or any advice you can take from the apostles and elders who've been out laboring for years, and that the Lord just these are just empty, vain words, and that we're just mad and hating, and man, this is true love. This is not personal. This is true love. A guy pops up out of nowhere, and he, you know, doing these videos. The mark of the beast ain't got nothing to do with a microchip, you know, but you don't get really hardly any videos or information from him. You ain't really getting no breakdowns or edification, because who's breaking the scriptures down constantly? Who's going into the prophecies constantly? Who's giving you the deep understanding of the scriptures, man? The Lord told us to feed the sheep. That's what we should be here for. But you got dudes who just pop up, right? You just pop up, and then you're the guy. You know? No, like, wait a minute. Who's this guy? You know, what's up with him? Yeah, you're going to get scrutinized. Yeah, hey, man, you doing agent-like stuff? Hey, you're going to be called an agent, because you can be an agent, all right, for Satan, all right, you know, just got demons on you, or a lot of people are going to be paid and set up directly by, all right, the FBI. They've been doing that to groups centered around what they call black. And why is IUIC doing interviews with Muslims, calling them our brothers? Now, here it is. We, the scum of the earth, grapists, and, you know, the biggest, the worst thing in Israel, but you sit down with a Muslim in these times talking about our brother. How can we better black people? And nobody sees a problem with it. Nobody got nothing to say. Nobody really doing videos on stuff like that. But then you'll do a video. Why y'all teaching where it ain't, where the people at? But you ain't got nothing to say about Esau and all of this garbage he's doing. And Esau's caught. Esau's through. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, our enemy's been exposed, man. So, at the end of the day, I just wanted to go through that. All right? Hey. Call halal Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, brothers, stay wrapped tight. You know, be mindful of what you say, what you do in your daily life, who you're talking to, all of that. Because these are some evil times, man. And our enemy has a plan. Okay? He has a plan. All right? But as long as we stick to the script and strive lawfully, he can't blame us. See? Who can lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? Nobody. Okay? But, all right, we still have a job to do, man. So, at the end of the day, man, hopefully I'll edify. Hey, you people who are talking about going your ass out there to Chicago, you better use wisdom. You better be wise and make sure you're not getting yourself involved, all right, in a maniac's, all right, folly. Okay, you've been warned. Okay, Shalom.